Many people in 2025 feel drained by midday, and it's not because they chose the wrong coffee blend or bought the wrong planner. The real issue is that their bodies are being asked to do something unnatural, stay still for most of the day. Harvard research shows only about half of U.S. adults get enough physical activity, and global data from the WHO puts that number at roughly 1 in 3. In this video, I'll unpack 7 common exercise myths that quietly sabotage your productivity and show you how to replace them with movement patterns that can sharpen focus and keep your energy steady without adding extra gym hours. And to start, we need to look at how our daily movement has changed so dramatically from the humans we once were. Why our ancestors would laugh at your office chair. Picture this. If you set your office chair next to a tree stump and had to choose which one to sit on all day, the real surprise isn't which is more comfortable. It's that for almost all of human history, the very act of sitting still for hours on end barely existed. Harvard Evolutionary research points out that the hunter-gatherer lifestyle involved built-in, unavoidable movement woven into every task of survival. Walking 5 to 10 miles in a day was routine for some groups, not because they were trying to be fit, but because eating, finding water, and staying safe required it. Gathering food meant bending, squatting, twisting dozens of times an hour. Carrying wood or supplies acted as resistance training without anyone thinking of it as exercise. There was no scheduling movement. It happened because not moving simply wasn't an option. Those constant, low to moderate motions shaped the very anatomy we still walk around in today. Our hips and legs were made for steady use through varied terrain. Our backs developed strength not from cushions and lumbar supports, but from bearing weight, shifting positions, and staying active in short bursts from morning until night. The cardiovascular system and metabolism adapted to a life of frequent small changes in activity, not punctuated by one workout and then hours of stillness. As evolutionary biologist Daniel Lieberman explains, exercise, as we think of it now, a separate block of intense effort, is actually a modern invention. What matters most to our biology isn't chasing that one big effort, but breaking up sedentary stretches with movement wherever possible. That's the problem with the modern desk job. It feels normal, but biologically, it's an oddity. 8 hours in the same posture, eyes locked on a screen, hands in a narrow range of motion, is the opposite of the environment our nervous system expects. Today's average workday offers movement only in tiny doses, walking to the restroom, heading to a meeting, grabbing coffee, leaving the bulk of the day in long, uninterrupted stillness. Data and experts now consistently link these inactive patterns to slower cognitive performance and dulled decision-making. It doesn't always hit you like a crash. More often, it's the creeping mental fog in the late morning, the slight lag in connecting ideas, the easy distraction from the task at hand. The World Health Organization warns that physical inactivity increases the risk of chronic diseases that also impair brain function, and Lieberman's own findings show that intermittent movement matters even more for alertness than total sitting time. Look at it from another angle. In the past, the brain stayed sharp by tying shifts in physical position to shifts in attention. A change in what your body was doing was a natural signal to scan your surroundings for something new, whether it was prey, a predator, or a path. In the absence of these cues, mental engagement naturally drifts. Chairs make life more comfortable, but they also dampen the muscle and joint signals that tell your brain it's time to check in. Elevators, vehicles, meal delivery, each eliminates small but critical opportunities to interrupt stillness. Think about it. When was the last time you stood up for more than 5 minutes on purpose today? Drop your answer in the comments. You might be surprised by how few times it's happened. Some try to balance this out with exercise before or after work, and while that has undeniable benefits, it can't undo the effects of sitting for most of the day in long blocks. Posture muscles need periodic activation, not a single surge. Systems that rely on oxygen flow to the brain, like those responsible for focus and problem solving, benefit most from regular, short spurts of movement. Our ancestors provided those cues naturally through unpredictable shifts in activity. Modern workers have to create them deliberately. Without those interruptions, the feedback loop between body and brain weakens. Movement naturally pumps more oxygen to the brain and triggers a mild stress response that heightens alertness. In healthy doses, that stress response is what helps you notice details, make quicker decisions, and keep mental energy steady. Prolonged stillness shuts that cue system down. And while people often point to bad sleep, heavy lunches, or dehydration as the cause of mid-afternoon fog, lack of movement is often the more consistent culprit. Imagine running an engine all day without ever changing gears. You'll get slower whether or not the fuel is good. You can see the difference in communities that still live with patterns closer to our evolutionary design. Their energy doesn't depend on caffeine cycles or carefully timed productivity blocks. It flows from variety in movement built naturally into the day. That doesn't make their lives better or simpler, but it does show what our bodies and brains expect. The mismatch in modern environments isn't just about comfort, it's about function. Time-saving conveniences strip out tiny repeated efforts our systems evolved to rely on, and that comes at a cost. So the big picture here is straightforward. We weren't built for long stretches of loud stillness, no matter how advanced the chair or ergonomic setup. Harvard evolutionary research confirms that the human body and brain operate best with steady, varied movement spread throughout the day. We were built for variety, not 8-hour stillness. So the fix has to be variety, not adding yet another item to your already overloaded to-do list. Now that you understand the biological mismatch at the root of daily fatigue, we can tackle the next layer. The exercise advice that sounds smart, but actually keeps you stuck. Let's start by addressing one of the most common solutions people turn to when their energy crashes at work, and why it might be doing less for your productivity than you think. Myth number 1, more gym time automatically means more productivity. Myth number 1, more gym time automatically means more productivity. It's easy to assume that if you feel sluggish at work, the answer is to make your workouts longer or more intense. The thinking goes, push yourself hard after hours and you'll make up for sitting all day. On the surface, it feels logical. Exercise improves health, so more should mean better results everywhere, including your job. The reality is, that model treats movement as a single, isolated event, rather than something your body and brain rely on throughout the day. It's an attempt to offset 8 or more hours of stillness with one burst of activity. The problem is that long, intense sessions at the end of a sedentary day don't always deliver the mental boost you expect. After hours of minimal movement, your body is in a low activation state. Suddenly demanding peak output for 60 minutes can be a shock to the system, engaging more than just physical effort but also significant cognitive resources. You're tracking sets, timing rest, and pushing through fatigue. Research shows that such taxing sessions can temporarily draw on the same neural systems you need for focus and decision-making. By the time you recover enough to feel benefits, the workday is over. This is where the timing and distribution of movement start to matter. Studies comparing people who bundle all their exercise into one session with those who spread shorter bouts throughout the day consistently find a difference in cognitive performance. Microworkouts and frequent movement breaks, not hours long, just minutes, have measurable benefits for attention, processing speed, and mental energy that last into the late afternoon. The science is growing. Reviews and meta-analyses from sources like Signos, UPMC, and the Society of Behavioral Medicine show that short bouts can improve cognition and even lower long-term health risks. The physiology is straightforward. Every time you get up and move, even briefly, blood flow and oxygen delivery to the brain increase. That supports neurotransmitter systems tied to memory, focus, and quick thinking. If you give your brain these boosts at intervals, you keep its alertness from sliding. One big workout at the end of the day still improves fitness, but it delivers just one of those boosts, after which levels taper off. There's also the recovery factor. Challenging gym sessions call for repair time, which can run in parallel with hours you need to think clearly. In contrast, short bouts during the day create neural stimulation without significant recovery demands. They leave more energy available for the very mental work you want to improve. Consider someone who works in an office and builds in 3 short, moderate activity windows. A brisk walk around the block mid-morning, 5 minutes of bodyweight movements at lunch, and some stretching or mobility exercises in the mid-afternoon. None of these require special gear or a commute to the gym. Each one prompts that circulation spike and resets alertness before fatigue settles in. This is the opposite of saving it all for later, and it protects cognitive sharpness during the hours it's actually needed. These effects are not trivial. While percentages vary across studies, the pattern is the same. Splitting movement into several points during the day supports sustained performance on mental tasks compared with doing it all at once. Think sharper reaction times, steadier focus, and fewer mid-afternoon lapses. And it doesn't require complicated routines. 2 flights of stairs walked at a steady pace, standing for a phone call, 10 bodyweight squats between emails. The purpose is to consistently break long stretches of stillness and trigger a physical reset before fatigue becomes noticeable. That's not to say traditional gym workouts have no place. They build strength, endurance, and resilience. But for people whose goal is also to perform at their best mentally, the structure needs to serve both physical and cognitive demands. That means weaving movement throughout the day instead of treating it as one box to check off. A useful way to think about it is like eating. You wouldn't skip food all day and then try to get it all in one giant meal because your body needs an ongoing supply of nutrients. Movement works similarly for the brain. Regular small inputs keep it functioning at a high level instead of letting energy dwindle and spiking it all at once. Some resist this idea because they believe short bouts aren't enough to count. That belief comes from measuring value in sweat and exhaustion. But here, the point isn't to tire you out. It's to stimulate your body and brain just enough to keep energy and focus high. Over time, those micro-movements influence not only how you feel, but how you perform, and the change becomes visible in your work output and consistency. If you want to experience it firsthand, try this now. Stand up and do 10 slow air squats, or walk briskly up and down a set of stairs for 1 minute. Pay attention to how alert you feel 5 minutes later. It's not about fitness gains. It's about observing the immediate lift in mental clarity. The takeaway is clear. Extending your gym time isn't the fastest path to a better productivity. Distributing movement across your day delivers sharper thinking when you actually need it, keeps fatigue from gaining ground, and preserves the benefits for the hours where they matter most. That shift in mindset means you stop viewing exercise purely as a single event and start treating movement as an ongoing input to your performance. Understanding this opens the door to seeing other workday habits more critically. The real productivity drain isn't just whether you work out, it's how much of your day gets spent in long, unbroken stillness. And that brings us to another popular claim about modern health that needs a closer look. Myth number 2, sitting is the new smoking, and why it's not that simple. Myth number 2, sitting is the new smoking, and why it's not that simple. The phrase gets thrown around so often it feels like accepted truth, a neat, dramatic shortcut that lumps desk work in with chain smoking as if both are equally toxic in the same way. But the reality isn't that clean. Sitting itself isn't a poison. Every species on Earth rests. Birds perch, lions sprawl in the grass, chimps lounge in the shade. The human body is built to mix activity with rest, not to avoid rest entirely. What makes our version different and risky is how long we stay in one position without a break. In traditional settings, sitting was just one posture in a cycle of many. A chimp might squat to crack nuts, then swing up into the canopy. Early humans could sit near a fire, then stand to tend cooking, then crouch to work stone or wood. Those rests were short, never locking joints and muscles in the same angles for unbroken hours. Today, many people sit for 4, 6, or 8 hours at a stretch, through meetings, commutes, and screen time, with barely any shift in position. That's the piece the slogan oversimplifies. It's not sitting itself, but prolonged, uninterrupted sitting that drives the problem. The risk comes from what happens inside your body during those long, still blocks. Muscle activity, especially in the big postural muscles of the legs, drops sharply. Circulation slows and the ends that help clear fat from the bloodstream, like muscle lipoprotein lipase, all but idle. Blood sugar regulation changes. Research on breaking up sedentary time shows that even a brief walk or light movement can lower post-meal glucose levels. Without those interruptions, energy use drops and metabolism shifts toward conservation. Meanwhile, your spine stays fixed in the same curve, hips in the same angle, and the same small set of muscles either carries the load or rests completely. Over time, endurance fades and stiffness increases. Your brain feels it too. Light, regular movement sends small bursts of oxygen-rich blood to the brain, supporting focus, reaction time, and mental flexibility. When posture never changes, those boosts don't happen, and alertness slowly ebbs, processing speed dips, focus wavers, and you can find yourself rereading sentences or losing your train of thought. You might think you're working fine, but measurable performance can slide long before you feel overt fatigue. Here's where the nuance matters. Someone who spends many total hours sitting, but interrupts it every 30 to 60 minutes with a short change in position, is in a different risk category than someone who stays locked in place for giant chunks of the day. Smoking carries harm from the act itself, every time. Sitting carries harm from duration without change. When you understand that, the solution becomes much more manageable. You don't have to reject the chair, just interrupt your time in it. And research tells us those interruptions don't have to be big. In studies published in Sedentary Behavior Reviews and supported by field interviews with Daniel Lieberman, breaks as short as 60 to 90 seconds of light movement, like a walk across the room or a set of standing calf raises, improve metabolic markers in circulation. Healy and colleagues' work suggests aiming for that refresh every half hour to an hour during routine desk work. These shifts activate muscles, re-engage enzymes like lipoprotein lipase, and counter the postural stagnation that builds from stillness. Think of each break as a system reboot. Stand to refill a water bottle, pace during a phone call, shift between sitting and supported standing. These light activities aren't meant to burn significant calories. They're there to prevent your body from slipping into a prolonged idle mode that's harder to correct later. Fieldwork in active cultures shows natural breaks happen far more often, sometimes every 10 to 15 minutes, but for most office environments, a 30 to 60-minute rhythm is realistic and effective. The benefits show up quickly. In lab settings, participants who moved every half hour maintained steadier attention and reacted faster in decision-making tasks compared with those planted in their seats for long blocks. Physically, they reported less stiffness, fewer aches, and better comfort across the day. Metabolically, those short breaks helped keep blood sugar from spiking as high after meals and supported the enzymes that manage fat processing, effects linked to long-term cardiovascular health. It's also about becoming aware of the tipping points. Slouching into your chair, losing track of a conversation, struggling to pull an idea into focus. Those are early signals that too much uninterrupted sitting is already taking a toll. If you wait until you feel physically restless, you've probably gone too long without a change. That's why building movement into natural transitions, finishing a work block, sending an email, wrapping up a meeting, makes it easy to keep up. Each natural pause is a cue to stand, move for a minute, and then sit again if that's most comfortable. Once this becomes routine, you stop seeing it as a disruption. Small breaks protect the quality of the time spent at your desk, so even if you're in the chair a little less, you often get more done. They also help break the mental pairing of work with stillness. Different postures and movement contexts can change how the brain approaches problems. You might brainstorm more easily on your feet or think more strategically while pacing. So rather than telling yourself never sit, which is impractical and ignores the evolutionary role of rest, focus on not turning sitting into an unbroken state. For most people, a realistic target is to interrupt sitting roughly every 30 to 60 minutes, even with just 60 to 90 seconds of light movement. That could be calf raises, shoulder rolls, or a short walk. These micro breaks cost little time but restore circulation, activate muscles, and revive focus. Before you move on to the next section, try this. Stand up, do one slow calf raise, then one shoulder roll. Sit back down and notice whether your attention feels subtly sharper. That's the mechanism in action. Light movement wakes up body and brain quickly. Changing how you sit is far less extreme than the new smoking slogan suggests. The aim isn't fear, it's control. building steady, repeatable breaks into your day so you avoid the slow drain of long stillness. Over time, you'll notice fewer afternoon crashes, and your clearest thinking hours will stretch further into the day. And once you have that foundation of better energy throughout the day, the next question is how to use your movement time for more than just breaking stillness. How to build the kind of strength that quietly supports mental and physical stamina well beyond the office. Myth number 3, strength training is just for gym people. Myth number 3, strength training is just for gym people. For many, the idea of lifting weights is tied to images of bodybuilding stages, powerlifting meets, or crowded fitness centers filled with clanging plates. Cardio feels simpler and more approachable. You put on shoes, go for a run or a brisk walk, and feel like you've done your part for the day. Strength training often gets filed under only for people who really live at the gym, so it's easier to skip than to figure out how to use a barbell, a set of dumbbells, or resistance bands. At first, that decision might seem harmless if you're staying active in other ways. Over time, it changes more than just muscle tone. It affects how your body and brain handle the demands of each workday. Muscle declines naturally with age, a process called sarcopenia. It happens slowly, so it's easy to miss at first. Starting around age 30, most adults lose about 3 to 5% of their muscle mass each decade without targeted resistance training. That erosion shows up in more than physical strength. It's linked to how efficiently your brain can sustain focus and problem-solving over long hours. Muscles act as storage and release points for energy throughout the body and help regulate metabolic processes that influence blood flow to the brain. When muscle function fades, stamina for both physical and cognitive work drops, and tasks that used to feel effortless can start to drain you more quickly. There's also the stability factor. Muscle strength supports your joints and helps you adjust fluidly to changes in position. When that support weakens, simple transitions, standing up from your chair, bending to pick something up, can feel a little less smooth. You may subconsciously avoid certain movements, further reducing circulation and reinforcing sedentary patterns. That creates a loop where both mental and physical energy taper down, often without you noticing the cause. Multiple randomized controlled trials and meta-analyses show consistent cognitive benefits from resistance training. Participants training 2 or 3 times a week for 8 to 12 weeks improved executive function, processing speed, and working memory compared to control groups. In older adults, it can slow the rate of cognitive decline. In younger adults, it boosts adaptability and problem-solving speed. These skills, prioritizing, filtering, distractions, switching between tasks, are directly relevant to high-quality work performance. They aren't confined to the gym. They're the tools you use to run a meeting, respond quickly to unexpected problems, and make better decisions under pressure. The benefits aren't purely mental. Stronger muscles send stronger, clearer signals through your nervous system. That impacts coordination, posture, and general physical readiness, all of which shape how responsive and focused you feel on the job. Everyday actions like holding yourself upright at a desk or pivoting to interact with someone nearby are supported by the underlying muscle base you carry. If it's strong and well-trained, those movements are effortless. If it's weak, they can subtly add to fatigue. Resistance training also influences how your body reacts to stress. Deadlines, client calls, and unexpected complications trigger hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Well-trained muscle helps buffer those responses through better glucose control and a higher capacity to use surges of energy without tipping into anxiety or panic mode. That steadier physical state makes it easier to stay calm and think clearly when things get intense. For busy professionals, strength work doesn't require a full gym. Twice a week, just 2 sessions of 20 to 40 minutes can be enough to initiate benefits shown in research. If you have no equipment, that could mean bodyweight squats, push-up variations, and lunges.